Yo, what is going on, Gromies? Hope y'all are doing well, growing well. Now, Gromies, as you guys can see, we got an empty tent, which only means one thing. It's time for a new grow. But before we can start the new grow, we gotta get all these old pots and dirt and trays and all the equipment out of here. Now for this grow, we have some extra special genetics and none of that hype cookie run stuff. We got legit, classic OG strains. Since there's a whole bunch of dirt in the tent, I figured I'd get my vacuum and vacuum it out. And it got real dirty, so we had get in the tent. Also, every single grow, you gotta wipe it down with some ISO. After we got the tent all clean, I then put in a little bit of leaf compost and then mixed in my soil. Since that soil didn't get fully tapped and we have a ton of nutrients in there, we gotta reuse it somehow. And for all the gromies out there who've been begging for me to use trays, we got trays. Here they are. We're using trays this grow. No bottom water. But yeah, anyways, gromies, you know, it's a very important every single time you start a new grow, label your plants so you know which ones are which. As we can see, I'm using a plastic 1 gallon panda pot and it has a whole bunch of drainage holes, so that's pretty nice. Now for this grow, this is how we're gonna set up the medium. We're doing pretty much half peat moss and then half of the peat moss soil. Since that soil has down to earth 772 and a whole bunch of nutrients in it, it has gone through a whole grow, but it's still got a lot of newts in there that it could probably grow a plant pretty well, even without adding any amendments to it. In order to start this, first I'm just taking some peat moss, filling up the pot, then taking some soil and then mixing it in the pot all the way until it's full. But before we fill it up, we also got to mix in our Biofish 772. Now, Gromies, I've been using this Biofish 772 and it is potent as hell. And it takes a long time to break down. And when it does break down, it's an avalanche of nitrogen, meaning it's just extremely potent. So for this grow, I decided to just do one, kind of half handful. And that's how much we're putting in. I think that'll be enough food for the whole plant, honestly, because this food is just so potent. But it is missing a few of the other ingredients, such as dolomite lime. Now, dolomite lime, if you guys haven't grown before, everybody needs CalMag. It's kind of a running joke. It's a meme. You need CalMag. But the cool thing about the dolomite lime is it's a slow, consistent release of CalMag. So we just mixed it in with our hand, and they're kind of like little pebbles. And we also decided to add some azomite, which contains all those trace minerals and micronutrients. So definitely important to have those if you want the dankest weed and the healthiest overall plant. And then finally, for the last nutrient that we're using, we're going with Dr. Earth, the all-purpose fertilizer, organic and natural, 222. Now, the reason I went with the 222 is I just needed a light, consistent, slow-feeding, organic feed with microbes to help colonize the media. But anyways, we fill up the pot. I wanted to top dress this, so I'm going to put that in at the very top. Looking at it, it looks like some green manure or something. I don't know. It looks weird as hell. And for this feed, I decided to just do about, again, a half handful mixed on the top. I figured that'd be a good amount of nutrients to get these plants started, and it'll last a little while. And I actually decided to go for 2 handfuls because the first one was a little bit light. Anyways, taking a close-up look at our media, we can see it looks pretty good. As we can see, there's not much perlite. We got some old roots in there. I think it's gonna work out well though. And for the last part, we're just mixing up some soil on the top from our last grow to carry over all those microbes that have been there beforehand and help get it started in this one. As I'm going through the final pot on the top, it's important to even it out and get rid of all those chunky pebbles. So that's what we're doing. But anyways, as we can see, finally, that is the bucket. That's the whole thing. And I wanted to make sure to fill up these pots to the brim. So that way there's as much media as possible so we can get as nice, dense roots as possible. Most of the time, I always fill up my pots really lightly and I leave a lot of aeration, which is really good. But this time I'm like, dude, there is enough air. There's no problem with the aeration. It's gonna be fine. Anyways, we ended up doing that for all the other pots, the exact same. And now it's time to plant the seeds and get them going. But before we plant our seeds, in order to keep the medium from drying out extremely fast, I ended up filling up each pot with some mushroom compost. Now the point of this mushroom compost is to prevent the topsoil from drying out as fast. And also it's just a slow release of nutrients throughout the whole grow, which is exactly what we need. Slow, consistent feed of organic material. So yeah, I ended up filling up every single pot with some mushroom compost just to completely fill up the top and settle in and get these pots finalized. Now, since we're working with dirt and organic soil, Gromies, there's gonna be dirt. We gotta clean up, so we did a little bit of cleaning so we don't track dirt all around the house. But yeah, Gromies, and then the final part is just watering the top. Now, it's very, very, very important to fully soak the media from the top to bottom. The biggest mistake that I see, especially from new growers, is they barely water in this tiny little spot. And if you guys see the plant grow, the taproot grows really fast, straight down. So you gotta make sure that the taproot doesn't get burnt on all that dry soil. So what we're doing is very important, saturating the whole medium top to bottom. And this also ensures a better germination rate. If you have dry soil, it's not gonna pop. And if it does pop with dry soil, it's gonna get burnt and die. But anyways, Gromies, our first genetic is from North Star Genetics, and it's the Purple Urkel back cross. Now, Gromies, Purple Urkel is an absolute staple, timeless, classic, potent, flavorful, aromatic plant. And it's one of the most well-known strains, I think, ever. Personally, I've never tried Purple Urkel, but I want to. And now I am, so I'm super excited about that. Keep in mind also, Gromies, these are regular seeds. And we're planting quite a variety, so we might not get a female. We'll see what happens. Whatever we get is what we get. But anyways, I just plant them the most classic, easiest way, seed straight to soil, and then a humidity dome to retain that moisture. Anyways, our next plant is the Red Line from Erie Genetics, aka Rasta Jeff. Now, I actually went into Rasta Jeff's Discord and had a chat with him. He's a super cool guy, cool community there. It made me even more excited to plant these seeds. But the cool thing about the Red Line is the cross. Red Line is a red Lebanese hash plant crossed with the Rise, which is basically a super energetic sativa. And dude, this sounds like it's just gonna be fire. But anyways, the next plant is Obamacare. Now, I've always wanted to try Obama Kush, and this is Obama Kush crossed with Nom Nom. Obama Kush is essentially an Afghan OG, and the Nom Nom is Gorilla Glue 4 crossed with Cherry Pie, crossed with Mainline OG. So this sounds like an insanely amazing plant that I'm super excited to try. Apparently Nom Nom has very small rounded forest green buds with lots of amber hairs and coats of frosty, sandy, amber crystal trichomes. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, we're only planting 2 seeds of each, and whatever ends up being female or male, we're just gonna have to see. But anyways, Gromies, the next plant is Hero Joanna. Hero Joanna sounds like something else. And I mean, damn, if this shit's potent like that, shit, we gotta try it, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Hero Joanna, this strain was bred for 15 generations before finalized. And also, just a quick note, dude, these are some of the tiniest, smallest seeds I've ever seen ever in cannabis strains. So dude, we got some ultra tiny seeds. I'm almost like, are these even gonna pop? Like, they're so small. But yeah, we got the Hero Joanna. Super excited to try that strain. Really love the potent, aromatic, true weed strains. Anyways, next up, we have another strain, which is Big Sur Holy Berry, crossed with Space Queen. Now, Big Sur Holy Berry, I have no idea what this strain is, but it's crossed with Space Queen, and I also never had Space Queen. But the person who actually sent me the seeds, his name is Tardis. So huge shout out to Tardis. He sent all these genetics to me. But anyways, Gromies, the next strain and the last strain that we're growing is Kofir Lime. At least that's how I think you say it. Now, Kofir Lime, it's a lime strain. I love the lime strains. Who doesn't? And yeah, I'm super excited to try out this strain and see what happens. The good thing is we have a lot of seeds of every single strain, so we have big pheno hunts that we can go through if we like them. And again, we're doing the classic method, seed straight to soil with the humidity dome. And there we go. At this point, everything's been planted. This is our brand new grow, and I'm ultra excited to be starting this next pheno hunt. But anyways, after 3 days, some seeds pop, and by some, I mean 2. The first one that popped is the Red Line, which I'm super excited about because that's one of the strains I'm most excited about. Now, the reason I'm excited about Red Line is of course the red Lebanese hash plant lineage, but also the very colorful and high terpene aromatic experience to where it's made really good for concentrates, obviously with the red Lebanese hash. And actually the other plant that popped is the Hero Joanna. Since then, none of the other strains popped, so we're just gonna have to wait. But anyways, Gromies, check this out. We are using the Spider Farmer GGS AG5 smart controller. Now the cool thing about the Spider Farmer app is you could see all these crazy metrics from the Sensor Pro kits, such as the air temperature, air humidity, VPD, CO2, soil temp, water content, soil EC, and the PPFD, literally telling you every single attribute about your grow in live time. But anyways, Gromies, that's it for this video. If you guys are excited about it, leave a comment, be like, yeah, these strains are lit, let's see what happens, Grower's Mindset. And then also, Gromies, I'm gonna be making an update about the World Champion Autoflowers, because I kind of stopped making videos about that. I got a little not motivated since the strains just didn't turn out that well. And since they weren't turning out kind of well, I just kind of neglected them, and that grow kind of went to shit. So a little bit of a waste of time, but we still have the harvest, we still have the plants, we can still review the plants. So leave a comment. Do you guys want to see that? Are you excited to see that? It's going to take at least like a month or two to cure all the plants before we can actually give them a fair try. But yeah, that's it. Anyways, Gromies, as always, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment. If you haven't seen my other grow/smoke reports, check those out. Keep it up out there, Gromies, and stay motivated in this beautiful medicinal hobby. #GrowMeGang.